One, two, three, four.
Jaden Brown. Number 3, the pitcher, Austin Courtney. Number 9, shortstop, Jack Johnson. Number 8, catcher, Sam Johnson. 11, third baseman, Israel Juarez. Number 7, the center fielder, Trey Ogland. 12, Caden Haywood, the 8. Number 33, first baseman, Drake Mathis. Number 2, right fielder, Aiden Dean. Number 5, the left fielder, Donnie Reed.
Where's that coming from?
Shortstop, Jack Jeffa. Number 12, second baseman, Max Brightshaw. Number 17, first baseman, Pick.
Smalls.
The Cardinals are coached by Austin May and Todd Schroeder. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand, join us as we honor our country with the playing of the national anthem.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's play some baseball.
All right, welcome to Camden Fairview Cardinal baseball versus the Hope Bobcats here. A little Friday night baseball at George Branch Field here in Camden, Arkansas. Cardinals with their 4th game of the week. It's been a good week for the Cardinals, 3-0 so far, and All right, leading off for the Bobcats here, top of the first inning, Jaden Brown for the Hope Bobcats. Jaden Brown playing second base for the Bobcats tonight. Wears number 1, Michael Betts. Wheels, kicks, delivers, and that pitch just a little low. Comes in at ball 1. Betts, wheels, kicks, and high and tight.
You got it, 9.
That pitch comes in for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Jaden Brown. All right, Betts got his sign. He kicks, delivers, and that pitch finds the edge of the strike zone, and he evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Michael Betts looks in. He is not got the sign that he likes. Here comes the pitch, and in just a little low, runs the count 3-2. Leadoff batter here in the game for the Hope Bobcats. Michael Betts with the payoff pitch, and that's in the dirt. Bounces away from the catcher. Brown hustles down to first base, and that's as far as he'll go on the third base dugout. Drew gets over there, gets it picked up, keeps Jaden Brown at first base. It's going to bring the pitcher, Austin Courtney, to the mound. Brown over at first base. Courtney looks at ball 1. All right, Courtney, time called by Courtney. He gets it from home plate umpire. Brown with the lead being held on over there at first by Peyton Schroeder. Michael Betts turns and throws over, and he got him, picked him off. Nice job there by Michael Betts. Throws and picks Jaden Brown off at first base. All right, so Michael Betts helps himself out there by walking the batter, but it's able to pick him off over there at first base. And we've got Austin Courtney at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Now we've got 1 out here, top of the first inning. No score here in the game. Michael Betts kicks, delivers, and that ball is hit sharply over to Max Bradshaw. He fields it, throws over to Peyton Schroeder, and that's out number 2 for the inning. Jack Johnson now steps in to the box for the Hope Bobcats. Cardinals played the Bobcats earlier in the week and won that game. Johnson was the starting pitcher there for that one. He's moved over to shortstop for the night. Betts, Drew Bostic. 1 ball, no strikes now is the count to a 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. We're in the top of the first inning, no score. And checks his swing, and he's going to get a strike on that one. Oh, swung at an outside pitch. Evens the count up. Wobble with the stream tonight. This game is on the radio, Magic 104.5. Jacobus Davis right next to me. He's got the call as well on the radio. This pitch in Off speed and just outside the zone. Oh, 2 balls, 1 strike now to Jack Johnson. Michael Betts got the sign. He is going to kick. Here comes the delivery, and that ball hit hard. Jack Jeffers has got it over to first base, and that's the third out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Even with the walk, Michael Betts gets out of it. No hits, no runs, nobody left on. We're headed to the Cardinal half of the first inning, no score. All right, leading it off for the Cardinals here, bottom of the first inning, Brody Dow. All right, Brody Dow leading it off for the Cardinals. First pitch in the dirt. Slips between the catcher and the umpire's legs to the backstop. 1 ball, no strikes to Brody Dow. Brody getting the start tonight in right field for the Cardinals. Brody Dow in right field, followed by Marietzi at third base, Dason Conley in center, Peyton Schroeder over at first. Be your first 4 batters. Second pitch to Brody Dow misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes, no outs. We're in the bottom of the first inning. That pitch in for strike 1. And here comes the pitch. That's a high fastball. Brody swings on it, hits it into foul territory. Hope players giving chase. They're not going to make it. That's a long strike out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike now to leadoff man for the Cardinals tonight, Brody Dow. And the pitch outside. 3-1 count now to Brody Dow. All right, here comes the 3-1. And Brody Dow drives that one in the air to left center field. And left fielder comes over, gets under it, makes the catch for the first out of the first inning, Cardinal half of the first inning. All right, Mariuzzi to the plate now. And first pitch from Austin Courtney, low and away for ball one. And Courtney looking in, getting the sign from his catcher, Sam Johnson. And Courtney's going to kick, deliver. Mari watches that one, and it is strike one on the outside corner of the plate. Runs the count to 1-1 strike. And here is the kick and the delivery. Mariuzzi swings at that one, chops it over to second base, fielded, and the throw a little high, but it was handled over there at first. And Mariuzzi out at first base with the ground out to second. All right, first pitch to Dason Conley, high in the zone. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. No score so far. Dason Conley, the strikes to Dason Conley. Conley out in center field tonight for the Cardinals. Austin Courtney looking in, getting the sign. He shakes off the first one there. And he's got what he wants now. Kicks and delivers that off speed. Looks like a curveball comes in. Slow rolling curve there, and it finds the strike zone. Runs the count to 2-1 strike to Dason Conley. And pitch from Courtney. That one's in the dirt, bounces away, and that runs the count now. 3-1 strike to Dason Conley. Dason Conley with a 3-1 count here at George Branch Field in Camden, Arkansas. Cardinals versus the Bobcats. Here comes the 3-1. That pitch, another curve, and it full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Courtney looks in, and here comes the payoff pitch to Dason Conley. Swings and fouled it off, staying alive. Bishop Davis over there said he's staying alive like the Bee Gees. Here comes the 3-2 pitch again from Austin Courtney, and that one is low. And Dason Conley's going to get the full count, 2-out walk, and brings Peyton Schroeder to the plate for the Cardinals. Down at first base. And that pitch out of the strike zone. A 1-ball, no strike count to Peyton Schroeder. All right, Schroeder digs in. That pitch high in the zone. 2 balls, and again tonight here at George Branch Field. Flags hanging straight down at the moment. Wind picks up, and they will blow from right to left and then turn and blow straight in and then from left to right. So it's going to affect the baseball a little bit here again tonight. That pitch was a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Schroeder. And that one outside runs the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two count, though. Board says 3-1. I gave him a strike and he didn't get one. 3 balls and 1 strike. Peyton Schroeder asking for time, gets it from the home plate umpire. All right, Schroeder back in the box. Pitch is fouled back to the screen. Now we've got another full count. All right, 3 balls and 2 strikes to the batter, Peyton Schroeder. Dason Conley down on first base. Schroeder fouls that one off, and again, he is staying alive in this at bat. 2 really good at bats by the Cardinals, running Austin Courtney deep in the count each time. Peyton Schroeder outs. There's no score. Conley takes off, and Schroeder fouls that one back off the helmet of the catcher, Sam Johnson. And Dason Conley will make his way back to first base. Count remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Schroeder back in. Austin Courtney looks in. He's got the sign he wants. It's going to roll almost to the fence. Dason Conley being waved home. He's going to come in and score. Peyton Schroeder stand up. 2 out. RBI double for Peyton Schroeder. All right, brings Max Bradshaw to the plate for the Cardinals. Cardinals getting a little something going here with 2 outs. All right, Austin Courtney looks in, and that pitch way high. Sam Johnson jumps up, snags it out of the air. 1 ball, no strikes now to Max Bradshaw. Cardinals lead the game now 1-0. Peyton Schroeder over at second base for the Cardinals. That pitch outside corner for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to the senior second baseman, Max Bradshaw. There, so Schroeder back in plenty of time. Here comes a pitch from Courtney. Max fouls it back into the catcher, and that makes the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jaden Brown popping in and out over there behind Peyton Schroeder on second base. Here comes the pitch from Courtney, and Max stays alive, fouls that one back into my camera. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Drew Bostic will follow Max Bradshaw if he can get aboard here. All right, Austin Courtney kicks, delivers. Max is going to hit that one into left field, and the left fielder comes over and gets under it for the catch in the 3rd out of the inning. Cardinals get 1 hit, they get 1 run, no errors, no one person left on base. We're headed to the top of the 2nd inning. Cardinals lead it 1-0. All right, leading off the second inning for the Bobcats, the catcher, number 8, Sam Johnson. Michael Betts, still your pitcher for the Cardinals. Betts looks in. He is going to kick and deliver, and that pitch, first pitch, swinging, chops it over. Jack Jeffers scoops at the ball across, not in time, and the ball goes to the fence. And Peyton Schroeder may have overextended himself over there on first base. And deep in the hole, Jack Jeffers had to go deep in the hole and made a running throw and just not in time. Drew Bostic backing up first base over there, gets the ball, but Sam Johnson makes it over to second base. Israel Juarez up now for the Bobcats. He squares the bunt, and that bunted it back, straight back under the catcher for strike one. All right, no balls and one strike to the third baseman for the Bobcats, Israel Juarez. Drew Bostic walks the ball back out to Michael Betts. They have a little conversation about what's going on out there. All right. Israel Juarez squared the bunt, pulled it back, and the count goes to one ball and one strike. Mariuzzi not quite playing up. He's going to creep up towards the grass. Peyton Schroeder comes in hard. Juarez is squared the bunt. He pulls it back. That pitch low in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike now to the third baseman, Israel Juarez. We're in the top of the second. Cardinals got 1 run across in their half of the first. They lead it now 1-0. That pitch in for a strike at the knees. Nice pitch there by Michael Betts. Evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sam Johnson out on second base there for the Bobcats. And that big curveball and gets him on the swing. Juarez swung at it and missed. Drew Bostic tags him out just to make it official, and we've got the first out of the inning. Trey Hoagland now the center fielder for the Bobcats to the plate. 1 out here, top of the second inning. Camden Fairview leading the Bobcats 1-0. Michael Betts is set. He kicks, delivers, first pitch, swings, fouls it out of play over on the right side for strike one. All right, Michael Betts. He peeks back there. It's Sam Johnson. Nobody holding him on. Michael's going to throw that one's inside on Hoagland, and that is 1 ball and 1 strike now to Trey Hoagland. All right, Betts has got what he likes, and that pitch in for a strike. Hoagland half-heartedly wanted to swing at it, then didn't, and it still found the outside corner at the knees. 1 ball, 2 strikes, got what he likes now. Sam Johnson holding tight out there at second, and that pitch, fastball, and just a little low and inside, evens the count up at 2-2. All right, Michael Betts with the sign, 2-2 count. Here it comes, and that breaking ball breaks outside a little too much, and we've got a full count to Trey Hoagland. Wind now blowing straight out. Hitter's ballpark for the moment. Here comes the payoff pitch now from Michael Betts. And inside bounces away from Drew Bostic. Nobody running. And it is walk issued there to Trey Hoagland by Michael Betts. Caden Haywood to the plate now for the Bobcats. They've got runners at first and second. Haywood DHing tonight for the Bobcats. One out here in the top of the second inning. Michael Betts trying to work himself out of a little bit of a pickle here. And here he's going to kick and deliver that pitch right down the center of the plate. No balls, one strike. All right, Betts with the sign he wants again. He is going to kick, deliver, and that curveball finds the strike zone. Nice looking pitch there by Michael Betts, and Haywood in the hole now, 0-2. All right, Michael Betts likes what he's got. Wind now blowing from right to left, and that pitch, curveball. Nice job there by Drew Bostic to get down and keep that pitch in front of him. One ball, two strike count. Caden Haywood one away here, top of the second inning. Cardinals leading the Bobcats 1-0. Here comes the pitch, and that one just a little bit low. Count even at 2-2 now for Caden Haywood. Bobcats with runners at first and second. And here comes the pitch. That's a curveball outside, and now we've got another full count.
Let's go, Smalls.
Best thing we could have right here is a dribbler ground ball over there to Jack Jefferson, turn two, and let's get out of this thing. 3-2 count to Haywood. Betts looks in. Here comes the kick delivery, fouled back, and stays alive here. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Haywood a little behind that pitch. Let's see if Michael Betts comes back with some heat. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Top of the second inning. Camden Fairview leads the game now 1-0. All right, here comes the pitch, and it is a fastball, and Haywood watches it, and that's strike 3. Michael Betts, great job of working his way out of that one. 2 outs now in the inning. Drake Mathis, the first baseman, to the plate for the Bobcats. All right, Michael Betts nods in approval of the pitch. Here comes the kick and the delivery, and that's an inside pitch hit over to Jack Jefferson, and Jack catches it in the air for the 3rd out of the inning. They get 1 hit, 1 base on ball, 1 error, 2 left. No runs. We're headed to the bottom of the second inning. Camden Fairview leading the Bobcats 1-0. All right, Drew Bostic to lead it off for the Cardinals here, bottom of the second inning. They are up 1-0. All right, that pitch comes in high in the zone. Ball to left field. All right, Austin Courtney kicks, delivers, and that pitch in on the hands. 2 balls, no strikes. And that pitch finds the strike zone. 2 balls and 1 strike to Drew Bostic. Top of the second inning, Cardinals lead it 1-0. That one up and outside. Evens the count. Runs the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. Hitters count. This is a opportunity here for Drew to pick out the one he wants. Here comes the pitch, and that's in on the feet, and Drew's going to walk. Going to have a courtesy runner for the catcher. That's going to be number 7, Aiden Zimmerman. High school baseball allows for a courtesy runner for your pitcher and your catcher. It doesn't count against you. Those players can re-enter the game, and they can run for them each time. Brings Michael Betts to the plate for the Cardinals. Aiden Zimmerman at first base, running for Drew Bostic. Here comes the pitch, and first pitch swinging by Betts. That's going to be out into center field. I lost it there for a minute, but the center fielder up under it and catches it for the first out of the bottom of the second inning. Jack Jeffers to the plate now. Hope Bobcats also use the PitchCom system to get the pitch into the catcher. He relays it out by hand signal to the pitcher, and doing a little work on the PitchCom there. I think it came unplugged on Sam Johnson, but they've got him wired back up. All right, Jack Jeffers digs in at the plate. Aiden Zimmerman down at first base. We've got one away here in the bottom of the second inning. And they're going to throw over check Aiden at first base. He is back in plenty of time. Jack Jeffers at the plate. Ben McKinney will follow. And the kick and delivery. Jack swings at that one. Hits it past the third baseman, a diving third baseman, and that is going to put Jack Jeffers at first base. All right, Ben McKinney playing left field for the Cardinals this evening. He steps in.
Left fielder, Ben McKinney.
One out in the inning. Cardinals have runners at first and second base for McKinney. All right, Ben ready, and that pitch comes in for strike one. That was right at the numbers on the edge of the plate, man. It just barely nicked the edge of the outside of the plate. No balls and 1 strike. Bottom of the second, Cardinals with a 1-0 lead over the Bobcats here early. That pitch outside, Ben watches that one. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Ben McKinney. Brody Dow would be next here in the inning. All right, Austin Courtney Pierce back, and he kicks, delivers. Ben hits that one hard, and that is going to be just foul. Boy, that one was right on the line. That would have been a couple of extra bases and maybe 2 runs scored for the Cardinals if that one would have been another quarter inch on the other side of that foul line. A 1 ball, 2 strike count now to Ben McKinney. 1 out. We're in the bottom of the second inning here at George Branch Field. Cardinals leading it 1-0. They're threatening again here, though, in the bottom of the second. All right, Ben McKinney asks for time, gets it from home plate umpire John Dawson, and he steps out. Austin Courtney taking a minute there on the mound. He's checking his runner at second, checking the one over at first, and Ben said, you got to hold up a minute.
Let's go, Ben.
Ben's back in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Courtney is going to kick and deliver, and Ben hits that one kind of
Run it out, run it out.
dinks it back over there to the pitcher, but that moves the runners both into scoring position and brings Brody Dow to the plate for the Cardinals. All right, Brody Dow at the plate. First pitch swinging. Brody hits that one into center field, the gap, and that's going to go to the fence. 1 run across for the Cardinals, 2 runs across for the Cardinals. Brody Dow making the turn for third, and he is down head first for the 2 RBI triple. Nice piece of clutch hitting there by Brody Dow to drive in a couple of runs for the Cardinals. All right, Mariuzzi now to the plate. He grounded out his first at bat back in the first inning. And first pitch swinging, Mariuzzi hits that one in the air out over to right field. And the right fielder under it catches it for the 3rd out of the inning. Cardinals get 2 hits. They score 2 runs. They leave 1 runner on. We're headed to the top of the 3rd inning. Cardinals now lead at 3-0. For Hope, he swings on the second pitch. All right, Jaden. All right, Jaden. his first trip up to the plate for strike one. Kicks, delivers to Brown. That pitch a little high and away, bounces off the edge of the mitt. Evens the count up at 1-1 now to Jaden Brown. 1-1 now to Jaden Brown. He swung right through it. One away in the inning. Branch Field and Camden Betts kicks deliver. All right, full count and swings and hits it into left field. Ben McKinney under it for the catch and the second out of the inning. His eyes rinsed out. I don't know exactly what happened, but coaches tending to Brody Dow, and he's got his glasses back. Looks like he's all right. Those sweat bees, it's that time of the year that one of those could have swam around down there and in good shape. Umpires headed back to their locations. All right, Austin Courtney is the batter. 2 outs here in the top of the third inning. Cardinals leading it 3-0. Courtney batting from the left side here. Michael Betts kicks, delivers, and Courtney fouls that one off the helmet of the catcher. And no balls, 1 strike to Austin Courtney. Courtney chopped it over to second base, his first at bat. That pitch inside evens the count up at 1-1. All right, here comes the pitch by Michael Betts. Big looping curveball falls in for strike 2, and Courtney in the hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes. All right, let's see if Betts comes back with the fastball, and he does. It's on the outside corner and punches Austin Courtney out for strike 3 and the third out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We're headed to the bottom of the third inning. Cardinals lead it 3-0. All right, Dason Conley leading it off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the third inning. First pitch inside. Dason does a little dance, gets out of the way of getting hit by the pitch. He's going to square and bunt, pulls it back, but the ball finds the outside corner of the plate at the knees. Evens the count up at 1-1. Dason walked back in the first inning. And Dason reaches down, grabs that one off the ground, fouls it over towards Coach Austin May in the batters or the coach's box there at third base. Evens it up at 1-1. All right, bottom of the third. Cardinals lead at 3-0. Here comes the pitch, and it is low and inside. And Austin Courtney taking his time. He kind of shakes it off, but then goes into his windup. That was a curveball. Looks like that just stayed outside. And 3-1 is the count.
Go, Dason.
Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Dason hits that one just foul. Boy, the Cardinals are flirting with that foul line down the third base line there. That's two that were hit right on the chalk that would have been extra bases for the Cardinals had it just been over just a scotch. 3-1 count. Or 3-2. And Dason hits that one hard on the ground on the left side and into left field for a base hit. Ground ball hit to the outfield for Dason Conley. Leads it off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the third. Peyton Schroeder to the plate now for Camden Fairview. He doubled to center field, drove in a run. His last at bat got the scoring started for the Cardinals. Peyton Schroeder, Max Bradshaw, Drew Bostic would be your next three if we can get that deep into the inning. No balls, one strike, and Conley takes off, and he is in at second base. They picked him off, and it went past the covering shortstop into left field. So Dason Conley gets the stolen base. All right, 0-1 count to Schroeder. Here comes the pitch, and he fouls that one off, and Peyton in the hole now 0-2 to Austin Courtney. All right, 0-2 count to Peyton Schroeder. We're in the bottom of the third inning. I've got it written here on my sheet. You would think I could read it off there. Bottom of the third inning. 3-0 Cardinals. That pitch outside. Sam Johnson scoots over and keeps it from hitting the backstop. Keeps Dason Conley down at second base. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And fouls that one out of play over on the left side. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Let's go 1-7.
Peyton Schroeder backs off the plate. And we've got play ball by the umpire. Peyton back in the box. Austin Courtney comes set. Here comes the pitch, and Peyton Schroeder going to hit that one in the air to center field, and the center fielder under it for the catch, gets it back in to the infield, and Dason Conley stays put there at second base. All right, Max Bradshaw to the plate for the Cardinals. He flew out to left field. Max looking to trade spots out there with Dason Connolly on second base. And going to spin around and run Max back. He's back in plenty of time, standing up out there at second. Austin Courtney looks back again, but he comes set, kicks, delivers, and Max lays the butt down, and Courtney fumbles it, can't get the ball picked up. And Max Bradshaw safe at first, and Dason Conley moved over to third base. And that puts runners on the corners for Drew Bostic. Drew walked back in the second inning and had a courtesy runner that came across and scored in his spot. All right, Drew Bostic to the plate. Runners at the corners. And Drew asking for time. Austin Courtney taking time looking at his base runners. And Drew said, come on, we got to go. And Courtney peers back again. Now he's set. And the kick and the delivery. And Drew drives that first pitch, but it is over to second base. Turns one and then two. Nice job by the Bobcats to turn two. That ball hit sharply, but right at the shortstop. And the Cardinals get one hit. They leave two aboard. No runs across. We're headed to the top of the fourth inning. Cardinals lead it 3-0. All right, Jack Johnson to lead it off for the Bobcats here in the top of the fourth inning. Grounded out to shortstop. Back in the first inning, first pitch, Michael Betts, he swings and it hits it opposite field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Fielded by Brody Dow and got it back. The sun is right in my eye there, and I couldn't tell what happened. But Brody Dow did field the ball, held Johnson to first base.
Sam Johnson.
All right, Sam Johnson now, he singled and moved over on an error, and he swings at the first pitch, hits that one deep into left field, and it is a foul ball. He flirted there again with the line, too, and that would have been extra bases. I think Johnson would have been standing up at third base had that one been just a scotch over to the right a little bit. So Cardinals get a break on that one like the Bobcats have gotten on a couple of theirs. No ball, one strike count. Bobcats with a runner at first. And here comes the pitch. He reaches down. Mariuzzi fills that one over to second base, and the ball is out into right field, picked up by Brody Dow. Mari threw that one as he was kind of down before he got all the way up, and that ball never made it to the glove of the second baseman. So the Bobcats with runners at first and second. Israel Juarez, he was a strikeout victim back in the second inning. He's at the plate for the Bobcats. Bobcats trail 3-0, but they are threatening here. Curveball, and Juarez lays off of it in the dirt. Drew Bostic keeps it out in front. Peyton Schroeder crashing in, expecting Juarez to bunt. And let's see if Juarez squares this time. He did not last time, and he's not going to square, and he swings big time. I like to come out of his helmet on that one. No balls, one strike, and it should be. And that's another strike there. I think it's 1-2. Their scoreboard is a little behind out there. Let's see what we've got. Scoreboard still showing 0-1. For sure it's 0-2. I'm not sure if it's not 1-2. Nevertheless, Juarez behind in the count. Bobcats with a couple of base runners out at first and second. And that is hit sharply into left field and going to be picked up. The throw cut off by Mariuzzi, and the Bobcats are going to score a run. And there's one run now across for the Bobcats. Trey Hoagland now the batter. Hoagland walked back in the second inning. Cardinals still not yet to get an out here in the top of the fourth. They lead it now 3-1. That pitch down the pipe fouled back into the fence for strike one. Caden Haywood would follow Hoagland here. And Betts kicks, delivers that curveball outside. A 1-1 is your count now to Trey Hoagland. Michael Betts Comes set, he looks back there at second base, nobody holding on the runner, and Hoagland swings through that outside fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Trey Hoagland. No outs here. And the Bobcats with a couple of hits and a run across already here in the top of the 4th. Camden Fairview again trying to work their way out of a jam here. That pitch swung and missed. Nice pitch there by Michael Betts, and Hoagland strikes out for the first out of the inning here in the top of the 4th. Caden Haywood, the DH, steps back in the box. Strikeout victim, his first at bat. All right, Michael Betts, he's got the sign. He is going to kick big fastball, and Haywood way behind that one for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. 1 out in the inning. Bobcats with runners at first and second base. Here comes the pitch. That's a curveball and stayed just a tad high. Evens the count at 1-1 to Caden Haywood. Okay. That pitch outside to Haywood. All right, Michael Betts looking in. Here is the kick and the delivery, and checks his swing, but he went, and that's strike 2. Oh, 2 count, 1 out. Bobcats runners at first and second. 3-1, Camden Fairview leads, and there comes that the other ball. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. I didn't think that was right. Again, it's hard for me to keep up sometime, writing stuff down and watching the game. Count is full now, 3-2. Wind blowing a little bit out from right field over to left. Here comes the 3-2 pitch, and that's a fastball in, and that punches Caden Haywood out there on the edge of the plate for the second out of the inning. Second strikeout of the inning and fourth of the game for Michael Betts. Drake Mathis, he lined out to shortstop back in the second inning. See if the Cardinals can get out of this inning with only 1 run across. And big curveball finds the outside corner of the plate for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. Drake Mathis, your batter. He's playing first base for the Bobcats here tonight. And here comes the pitch from Betts, and that's right, a heater down the pipe. He's behind it, fouls it back. And now Michael Betts ahead 0-2. I don't think he will, but if I was Michael Betts and it's outside, that came back with a fastball, I wasn't sure if he would or not. But it was just outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. All right. Michael Betts working pretty quick here, and he blows that one by, and it is fielded by Utzi, and the throw over is in time for out number 3. Cardinals were in a little bit of a jam there. They worked their way out. 2 strikeouts by Michael Betts and a ground ball out over to third base gets the Cardinals out of the inning. Bobcats are going to leave too. They had 2 hits, got 1 run across. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-1. Camden Fairview over the Hope Bobcats. All right, Michael Betts is going to lead it off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Going to be Michael Betts, Jack Jeffers, and Ben McKinney. Then they'll be back around to the top with Brody Dow. Cardinals need to put some guys on the base pads, get them across, get some insurance runs here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Austin Courtney still on the mound for the Bobcats. First pitch in, and it misses outside for ball number one to Michael Betts. And that pitch outside and in the dirt, 2-0 now to Betts. Michael flew out to center field. Good contact back there in the second inning, but it was one of those atom balls. Center fielder rolled up under it and caught it for the out. And Michael swings on that one, grounds it over to shortstop, throw over in time. Thought it was going to be a little high, but the first baseman brings it down for the first out of the inning.
Let's go, Jack Jack.
Jack Jeffers now to the plate. Jack singled on a ground ball hot to left field back in the second inning. So Jack Jeffers looking to get it started for the Cardinals here. One out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Cardinals lead it 3-1. That is off the helmet of Jack Jeffers. Knocks the helmet crooked. Jack didn't seem to bother him, so he is going to mosey on down to first base on the hit by pitch. All right, Ben McKinney playing left field for the Cardinals tonight. He hit it back up the middle to the pitcher, was thrown out over at first base back in the second inning. Here comes the pitch, and Ben again back to the pitcher and throws it. And that ball gets, we're in a rodeo now. It was thrown wide to first base. McKinney almost gave up on it, and he ends up being safe at second base. Jack Jeffers on the throw back over to third makes it home. So on a couple of throwing errors, the Cardinals get a run, and just like that, it's 4-1 here, one out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Brody Dow now to the plate. Brody's flown out to left field and hit a triple, scored 2 runs back in the second. That first pitch to Dow in the dirt. Cardinals with a run across here in the bottom of the fourth. Ben McKinney standing over at third, 90 feet away from scoring another run. Cardinals trying to add some insurance here. Cardinals, no hits in the inning, but they've scored a run. So, and Brody swings at ball 3. That was high in the zone, and he just couldn't lay off of it. That thing looked like a beach ball coming down to Brody Dow, and he swung on it, fouled it out of play over on the left side, makes the count 2-1 strike. Those are hard pitches to lay off of. They look so good coming in. And so Courtney comes back with a curveball that hung up there at the eyes. Brody lays off that one. It's a 3-1 hitter's count now to Brody Dow. And that's a big curveball Brody swung at and missed it. Now the count is full, 3-2 strikes. Another one, curveball hung out over the plate, and Brody just got out in front of it. 3-2, Ben McKinney over at third base, 1 out. Cardinals with a run across here in the bottom, and Brody hits that one back up the middle, snagged by Austin Courtney off the mound, and throws Dow out at first base. Ben McKinney stayed put. Mariuzzi now Walking to the plate for the Camden Fairview Cardinals. Mario for 2 tonight, so he's looking to get something going. First pitch coming down to Mariuzzi. That's a strike right down the middle of the plate. Off-speed delivery there by Courtney and rolls right in, falls in for strike 1. And that one is the same pitch, and it finds the strike zone. These curveballs are starting in, look like they're going to hit him, and they roll right on. Big lazy curve, falls right in, and Mari's behind in the count 0-2. He's got to shorten up, quicken up, put it in play here. And he does, and chops it over to second base, fielded by Brown over to first. And that's it for the Cardinals. They leave one. They get no hits, but they do score a run. And it is 4-1. We're headed to the top of the 5th inning. All right, top of the 5th inning, Cardinals are leading the Hope Bobcats 4-1 here at George Branch Field in Camden, Arkansas. And is that Aiden Dean leading it off, number 2? Michael Betts comes set. Here comes the kick and delivery. That's a fastball in for a strike. And that is indeed Aiden Dean leading it off for the Bobcats here in the top of the 5th inning. Popped up to the shortstop back in the 3rd inning. He is ahead in the count, 1 ball, no strikes. He swings at that same pitch in the same spot and evens the count up to 1-1. Dean, Brown, Courtney due up for the Bobcats. And Michael Betts keeping it out there on the outside, trying to get Dean to chase it again. He doesn't, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Aiden Dean, the right fielder for the Bobcats. And that one misses. And the count's even, 2-2. Michael Betts got his sign. He's going to kick. Here comes the delivery. High fastball, and Dean swings through it for the strikeout and out number 1 of the inning. Nice pitch there by Michael Betts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strikeouts so far for Betts tonight in the game. Jaden Brown, he walked in the 1st inning, got picked off over there at first, and flew out to left field in the 3rd inning. We're in the top of the fifth. It's 4-1 Camden Fairview. One out. And high fastball. Brown lays off of that one. And the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Here comes the pitch from Michael Betts. That's a curveball. He chops it over to Mariuzzi. He fields it, throws over to first, and it's off. The throw's off the mark. Peyton Schroeder keeps the ball from going to the fence, but he's going to reach on an E5, I believe, is how that'll be scored. And the Bobcats have a runner aboard here in the fifth inning. Austin Courtney, the pitcher of record, he is at the plate now. He grounded out to second, struck out in the third inning, so Courtney 0 for 2 here in the ball game. Brown over at first base. I have to think Michael Betts going to check him back over there. Michael hadn't thrown over much since the pickoff, but here comes the pitch to the plate. Hard hit. Max Bradshaw fields it over to second to Jack Jeffers to first base, and they turn a 4-6-3 double play to get out of the inning. Nice job by the Cardinals. And just like that, the Cardinals are out of the fifth inning. Bobcats, they get a man on board on an error. No hits, no runs, nobody scored, and they left one aboard. We're headed to the bottom of the fifth inning. It is 4-1. All right, Dason Conley going to lead it off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Camden Fairview leads the Hope Bobcats 4-1. Dason walked in the first inning, ground ball left field. He got a single, stole a base back in the third. So Dason 1 for 2 and looking to make it on base here this inning. First pitch to Conley misses the strike zone. 1 ball, no strikes. Austin Courtney still on the bump for the Bobcats. And curveball, Dason swings, hits on top of it, fielded by the third baseman, throw over in time, and the first out of the inning. Peyton Schroeder now to the plate. Peyton, big double with an RBI to center field back in the first inning, flew out in the third inning to center field. A lot of room over in left field. They're playing Peyton to pull. If he could go oppo here, that'd be a couple of bases for him. And that ball high in the zone. Off-speed delivery there, and it stayed up. 1 ball, no strikes to Schroeder. 1 away in the inning. And Peyton hits that one, and he's going to pull it, but it's going to be a ground ball base hit into right field. So Peyton Schroeder aboard for the Cardinals. All right, Max Bradshaw bunt single back in the third inning.
12, Max Bradshaw.
Let's see if Mac's going to try to move Peyton over with the bunter. If he's swinging away, and he is going to swing at the first pitch, pops it up into short right field. Second baseman out to catch it. And that is the second out of the inning. Drew Bostic to the plate now for the Cardinal.
Pitcher Drew Boston.
Drew walked and hit into a double play. And that curveball, big looping curve, but it's low in the zone. 1 ball, no strikes. Drew looking to move Peyton Schroeder on around here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Drew swings and hits that one and dove on by the shortstop, and not in time. Drew beats the throw out over there at first base. And Schroeder going to move on down to third. And not sure what happened to the first baseman on that one. He is walking off. And looks like he's all right. He's handing his coach something there. And Cardinals are going to have runners at the corners.
He had a broken wrist. But he's got a brace on. The first baseman like he didn't play.
All right, brings Michael Betts to the plate. And they're going to, looks like they're replacing their first baseman. I think he had an injury back, didn't play earlier in the week, and I don't know what happened there, and going to have a little timeout and tend to their first baseman here for a minute. All right, their first baseman. He's a tough cookie. He's going back in the game, Drake Mathis. Not real clear what happened to Drake on that play. I know he's wearing a knee brace and apparently had another injury, but he's going to stay in the game. Michael Betts is your batter. Cardinals with ducks on the pond. They are needing to get a couple of more insurance runs here. 2 outs, and Austin Courtney delivers that ball on the outside edge of the plate for strike 1. And here comes The 0-1 pitch, and Michael Betts hits that in the air, and it is caught in left center field by the left fielder, and the third out of the inning. Cardinals with a hit, leave 2 on, and nobody across. 4-1, headed to the top of the 6th. All right, Jack Johnson going to lead it off for the Bobcats here in the top of the 6th inning. Cardinals lead the Bobcats 4-1 here at George Branch Field in Camden, Arkansas. Jack Johnson hit it to a 6-3 and had a base hit single into right field. Back in the 4th, here comes the pitch from Michael Betts. Fastball outside of the zone. 1 ball, no strikes. And that pitch outside the zone. 2 balls, no strikes to Jack Johnson. Cardinals lead the Bobcats here 4-1. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Johnson leading it off for the Bobcats here in their half of the 6th. And that pitch fastball inside, he gets out in front of it, fouls it off over to the fence in left field. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. Two-one pitch on the way and fouls that one back, evens the count up 2-2. Hey, if you're sitting at home not doing anything, come on out to George Branch Field. There'll be another game after this one. We're in the top of the 6th here. Camden Fairview leads it 4-1. All right, Michael Betts kicks, delivers, and that one in the dirt. Drew Bostic blocks it, keeps it in front of him. Full count to Jack Johnson. And let's see. And here comes the heat. And Johnson hits it, chops it over to Jack Jeffers. He throws across and fields it. Peyton Schroeder scoops it for the first out of the inning.
Catcher, Sam Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson for the Bobcats. Now it's Sam Johnson. Got a single. He's gotten on base a couple times due to errors here in the game. Something Cardinals need to work on cleaning up. We've got one away. And Michael Betts kicks and delivers. That's that curveball in for a strike. And that ball's in. Woo! Missed high. I was about to call it a strike. 2-0 now to Sam Johnson. All right, here comes the 2-0 pitch, and it's inside, fouled back into the screen right in front of my head. 2 balls and 1 strike. One away here, top of the 6th inning. Camden Fairview leading the Bobcats 4-1. Camden Fairview with 6 hits. The Bobcats have 4. Errors are high on the board there. That pitch looked good, missed low, 3-1 count. All right, board says 2-2. Here comes the pitch. It falls outside. Curveball misses away. And now it is a full count. All right, payoff pitch. One away here in the inning, and it is a fastball misses low. And Sam Johnson is going to get the free trip. Israel Juarez, the third baseman for the Bobcats. Single back in the 4th inning, struck out in the 2nd. Had an RBI there. And he is the man responsible for the run and swings at the first pitch, hits it off the handle. And Brody Dow not able to get to it, but he does field the ball and throws out the runner at second base. Runner kind of held up on the fly ball, and Brody Dow able to field it and threw a lightning strike over to second base and gets the runner. Trey Hoagland, your batter now for the Bobcats. 2 away in the inning, and Hoagland swings through that one. Big curveball. Hoagland couldn't get his timing right on it. 0-1 to Trey Hoagland. He's walked and struck out in the game. That's a fastball, comes in a little high and hot. Here comes the pitch. Fastball in for a strike. Michael Betts ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Trey Hoagland. Caden Haywood, the DH, would be next. Here comes the 1-2 pitch from Michael Betts, and that curveball just missed the outside corner. That'd be a hard pitch to lay off of with 2 strikes. All right, 2 away. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and fouled back, and squeaks through and gets into the crowd here behind the plate. I don't think anybody got hit. All right, here comes Michael Betts. He's set. He's going to throw over. Going to run Juarez back to the plate. He dives in safely. I believe the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. Big curveball. Hits the dirt. Bounces over the head of the catcher. And Juarez going to scoot down to second base on the wild pitch. Not much you can do about those as a catcher when it comes in and bounces on the plate and goes over your head. Two away. Cardinals trying to get this final out, trying to keep the Bobcats from scoring any more runs. Here comes the pitch, and it's a little high in the zone. And that is, I think, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yes, sir. There it comes. 3-2. Full count. We're going to get the payoff pitch here from Michael Betts. And he peers back. He's going to kick, fire, deliver, and that ball is hit hard up the middle, fielded by Jack Jeffers to throw over to first for the out. Cardinals get out of the inning. Hope with a hit. They leave one, get nobody across. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals up 4-1. All right, we're headed to the bottom of the 6th inning here from George Branch Field in Camden, Arkansas. The Cardinals lead the Bobcats 4-1 here in conference action. Jack Jeffers is singled and got hit by a pitch in the head his last at bat. Here comes the pitch by Courtney in on the edge for strike. Jeffers, McKinney, Brody Dow due up in the inning. Second pitch on the way, curveball finds the strike zone, and Jack Jeffers in the hole, 0-2. Shorten ups, quicken up, widen out, put it in play, anything close. Courtney kicks, delivers, and Jack Jeffers watches the curveball for strike 3. Looked outside. Jack thought it was a ball, and the catcher dropped it. Threw Jack out at first on the drop third strike. All right, Ben McKinney back to the plate, swings at the first pitch. He's out in front of it, and it is a foul ball for strike 1. All right, bottom of the 6th inning, Cardinals leading the Bobcats 4-1. One away here in the inning. Ben McKinney at the plate. Here comes the pitch. It's an off speed. Catches the outside edge of the plate. And that's strike two. One ball, two strike count to Ben McKinney. One away here, bottom of the sixth. Cardinals lead 4-1. That ball outside in the dirt past the catcher. I believe the count's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Courtney kicks, delivers. Ben hits that one off the handle over to second base, fielded, and over to first for the out. All right, Brody Dow. Brody's got a triple back in the second inning. 2 outs here. Brody Dow would like to get another one, get something going here for the Cardinals with 2 outs in the inning. And Courtney's gone to the curveball here in this inning, and it's working well for him. And no balls and 1 strike to, and there he comes right back with it, and Brody Dow in the hole, 0-2. They look a little outside from back here where I'm sitting. Umpire says they're on the money. Brody Dow in the hole, 0-2. Here comes the change up, stayed outside, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cardinals leading it 4-1. They need to get something going. And there goes that curveball again. It hits the dirt, and the count is even at 2-2. Mariuzzi would follow Dow if he can get aboard. And Brody swings at that one, hits it high in the air. The left fielder gives chase, and that ball hits the bottom of the fence. Brody Dow digs in and gets 2 out of that one. So Brody Dow with a nice long double out into left center field. All right, Mariuzzi. Off night for Utzi. He's looking to get something going here. Brody Dow out at second in scoring position. And they're going to turn around, throw, and Brody Dow back to the bag in time. Brody's got to dive on those plays. And that ball outside to Mariuzzi. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th. 4-1. Cardinals lead the Bobcats. Cardinals threatening with a man in scoring position in Brody Dow out at second base. That one outside, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes to Utzi. Dason Conley waits on deck if Mariuzzi can get aboard here in the bottom of the 6th. And that ball gets away from the catcher. Brody Dow was going, and he is going to get the base. Probably not going to credit it with steal, probably on a pass ball. The count is 3 balls and no strikes to Mariuzzi. Brody Dow 90 feet away from an insurance run for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 6th. And here comes that curveball in for a strike. And that ball thrown by the catcher out into center field, and Brody Dow is going to come in and score. So the Cardinals get the insurance run, not quite the way we thought they would, but it doesn't matter. It's a cross, and the score now 5-1. Cardinals lead the Bobcats. Mariuzzi swings at that one, pops it up. It's in shallow left field. The shortstop is over, and he can't get to it, and that ball's going to fall for a base hit for Mariuzzi. That was really the left fielder's ball. The center fielder, or the shortstop runs out, and the ball got behind him, and he couldn't make the catch. Mariuzzi safe at first base, and the coach for the Bobcats coming out, and we may have a pitching change here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Indeed, we're going to have a pitching change, and it looks like Aiden Dean coming in from right field, and not sure where everybody's going to fall first, but Aiden Dean going to be your new pitcher for the Bobcats. He's going to take some warm-up tosses. We're going to step away here for just a second. Camden Fairview leading the Bobcats here in the bottom of the sixth inning, 5-1. All right, Austin Dean still taking a few warm-up pitches here. Dean has been out in right field, so taking him a minute here to get warm. And looks like home plate umpire John Dawson says that's it. It's time to go. Dason Conley coming to the plate for the Cardinals. Dason with a base hit on the night and a stolen base. He's got a walk as well in the game. We've got two away. Mariuzzi at first base. Cardinals trying to have a two-out rally here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Put some insurance runs on the board here late in the game. Austin Dean kicks and delivers that pitch below the knees, and the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Two-way, bottom of the sixth. Cardinals ahead 5-1. And that one high and away. They're going to throw back over to first, and Mariuzzi dives back in safe. Sam Johnson Tries the pick throw from home plate. Mariuzzi dives back. Austin Dean kicks, delivers. That one is going to be low as well. 3-0 count to Dason Conley. Peyton Schroeder waits on deck. Runner goes, and that is a strike. No throw down by Sam Johnson. Counts 3-1. Mariuzzi goes down uncontested to second base. Two away in the inning. Cardinals trying to get something going here, and that pitch high, and Dason Conley is going to get the free bag. Peyton Schroeder coming to the plate. Peyton's got a couple of base hits on the night. Looking to move some people around here.
17. Peyton Schroeder.
And that pitch in the dirt, and Mariuzzi gets in under the tag, bounced in front of the catcher, and he kind of lazily picked it up. Mari said, hey, I'm going to third, takes the force away, and Camden Fairview now with runners at second and third with 2 outs. 1 ball, no strike count to Schroeder. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that is a balk, and Mariuzzi's going to score. The ball slipped out of the pitcher's hand on the delivery, and that's going to move Dason Conley down to third. I don't even know how to score that on this thing. All right, so a couple of insurance runs here in the inning. And that pitch outside, and it bounces around. Catcher's got it. Conley holds up at third, and it is a 2-0 count to Peyton Schroeder.
We don't get lead off, and we can only leave when the ball is and a ball. And softball's only a ball to the batter. We don't move runners.
And that pitch high in the zone. 3-0 count now to Peyton Schroeder. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cardinals with a couple of runs across. They lead at 6-1. And that one's away. And now Cardinals with runners at the corners as Schroeder goes down on the walk. And the Hope coach going to head out to the mound. And looks like the infield, a couple of them going to come in, and he's going to make the call. That's going to be it for Aiden Dean. And we're going to have another pitching change here in the inning. Cardinals up 6-1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. So how many we leave? Two? All right, we got the mic back there. I don't know what happened. Max Bradshaw flies out to center field to end the inning. The Cardinals get a couple of hits, couple of runs, leave a couple on base. They lead it now 6-1, headed to the top of the seventh inning. All right, Max Bradshaw on to close it out here for the Cardinals. Caden Haywood to the plate. And Max Bradshaw kicks, delivers that ball a little low.
Good night.
And the lights hadn't come on here at George Branch Field. Going to make my picture a little dark here. That pitch looks a little low as well. 2 balls, no strikes. Max kicks, delivers. Here comes the lights. 3-0 count now to Caden Haywood. Max kicks, delivers that 3-0 pitch, and that is in for a strike at the knees. And now Max has found his spot, maybe. Big game for Michael Betts. We'll count his strikeouts here in a minute. That pitch in for a strike as well, and Max Bradshaw works his way back to a 3-2 count. 6 innings for Michael Betts. And that pitch hit off the handle just over the head of Max Bradshaw. Jack Jeffers scoops it. The throw in out. Nice play there by Jack Jeffers to field that ball. He came way over in front of the bag, fielded it through the runner out at first, and there's one away in the top of the 7th inning.
The pitcher, number 33,
All right, Drake Mathis. And curveball in for a strike. 0-1 to Drake Mathis. All right, Fernando Perez coming in to pinch hit for the Bobcats. And 2 away here, top of the 7th inning, and 2 strikes on Perez, and the Bobcats are down to their final strike here in the game. Cardinals lead it 6-1, top of the 7th inning. Max Bradshaw looks in. He's got the sign from Drew Bostic, and he struck him out, and that is the ball game. Nice job there by Max Bradshaw to come in and close it out. Good week for the Cardinals. 4 ball games, 4 wins for the Cardinals this week. Great outing for Michael Betts. 6 innings pitched, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 strikeouts, I believe, is what I've got down. Nice job by Betts. Nice job by the Cardinals hitting tonight, driving in runs. Good game defensively for the Cardinals. Go on next week. We've got 2 games, both of them against the Magnolia Panthers conference games next week. So come out, watch the Cardinals. If you can't, listen to us or watch us here on the live stream. We appreciate y'all watching. There'll be a JV game coming up here shortly.